Welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Esports Fall Major. I'm Fall Out as I'm joined alongside Ribs and Toby Campbell, a.k.a. Toby Keith, my friend, as we're joined and getting ready for this winner's bracket final. Rise versus the Kansas City Pioneers. Toby, I already got Ribs' thoughts earlier in the fantasy bracket prediction. I want to hear yours.
After that game we just saw, John, I think my predictions would have gone out the window too. I mean, that was something else. That was perhaps the craziest match we've had all weekend. Me, Taylor, and Guy were just going insane in the virtual green room watching that. Some of the flanks we saw from Monkeys was just out of this world, blown away. And I have to say, congratulations to them, right? They're proving so many people wrong right now, and they are on a dream of a journey.
As we shift gears and get ready for this next matchup, Rise versus the Kansas City Pioneers. Ribs, starts talking through this matchup a little bit. You know, I know you predicted Rise to win it. Why'd you do that?
I mean, it's just one of those things. I want to go back to Friday, Avexys' interview, and he talked about, yes, I mean, the narrative was we said we weren't practicing too much coming into the season, but what they were doing was practicing properly, right? Perfect practice, quality over quantity. They said they were focusing on their weaknesses. They were focusing on their situational awareness. And right now, similar to Noble, similar to KCP, and now the Knights, they're strong on pretty much every game type. They've had a flawless record throughout this weekend. And at this point in time, if they're going to beat the Knights, if they're going to get over that hurdle, get over that bracket demon, I think it would be now. And sorry, not the Knights, but KCP.
Yeah, well said. And you also said one big thing. They've been watching a lot of VOD, which now, given there's execution at play, so important because teams have strategies. They have trick strats. What's their base? What's your counter? And of course, same thing for controls, right? It's all about breaks and setups. And you have to understand how teams like to set up and how teams like to run breaks. So a lot more at stake here in terms of VOD reviews. And it looks like Rise came in prepared. Meanwhile, we have Kansas City Pioneers on the other side. We'll talk about them in just a moment. Let's walk through the Rise roster. Toby, talk me through this squad.
Such a star-studded roster, this one, and it's kind of been sad, of course, because Rushiez and IC, they have championships under the belt. Avexys and DeToX still looking for that. Of course, DeToX replacing Franchise not too long ago. The question is, can he and Avexys, the content man, arguably, of Gears Esports right now, can they turn up on Championship Sunday? Hey, PK literally just did that on our streams, and Rise beat PK yesterday. Can they do it against KCP? That's what I'm wondering.
Yep, that is for sure. So here we go. Star-studded roster for sure. We know we've been watching him. The man Rushiez himself, the X factor for this squad, in my opinion, invented the secret man, which I'm so glad secret manning is still the term that we use in competitive gears. I think Blaze was trying to get rid of that at one point, just like the mental shot. Both stay true to this day. Meanwhile, I see your face, Ribs. Meanwhile, we got the Kansas City Pioneers. Let's bring up this roster. Ribs, talking about the KCPs.
Here are our defending champions sitting in winners finals where they pretty much always find themselves. And we're looking at Xysho, Acells, Hndles, and Precision. One of my favorite interviews of all time throughout sports, esports, anything. Great interview between him and Taylor Reflections. And he said, these are my favorite guys to play against. He's very happy to play against Rise again. And there's one thing I want to bring up too, is Rise has beaten KCP in multiple sets. They beat him in a pool play match last major. Rise has beaten KCP in the winners finals in one of our misplay playoffs. But it is always KCP that comes out on top, right? It's similar to back in the day, Fallout. We'd see like Envy against Optic. And it's not like Optic would always beat Envy. Not every single time, but they would win the tournament. They would win the reset. They would come out of losers and win. They would win more tournaments. So KCP is just that dynasty. And Hndles said, if you guys want to call it that, call it that. We're just going to worry about one game at a time, one opponent at a time. And I just love every single answer that Hndles had. A boot to gut, just talking about his Y button. He said there's no strategy behind it. It's just boot to gut. It's just execution. We're playing Gears. We're going to give people their executions. Guy's just a crowd pleaser, and that's just KCP in a nutshell.
Absolutely. Look, I've been a part of Gears for a long time. I've seen some remarkable personalities come through Gears. Nick Merck, CDN, praised, so many more. Hndles has to be up there as one of the best entertainers we've had in a while, man. So that was one of the best interviews I've seen for sure. But let's take a look at our head-to-head matchup. We got Avexys, we talked about him earlier, and Acells, who's been an absolute freak. Avexys with the 2.54 kill death assist ratio. Damage per respawn, 12.4K. Damage per execution, 8.2K. Absolutely insane. This is throughout the championship bracket. So Avexys has been performing, Acells has been performing, and Toby, I mean, these are two heavy hitters.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the thing that jumps out to me instantly is literally that 2.54. Avexys, on paper right now, on this screen, is overperforming, and he absolutely do that in this game if he is to take down KCP. Meanwhile, speaking of overperformances, let's not forget Acells' amazing performance yesterday against Noble, dropping 15-2 on checkout. Absolutely insane. Boy, have Ryze got a tough game.
Yeah, Acells played out of his mind. That was a Powers-esque execution game, as we saw Powers on Friday. Acells does the same thing with a 15 or 17 kill game on checkout. And speaking of maps, will we see checkout in the map picks? Let's take a look here and see what 5 games we'll see. No checkout indeed. It'll be Tomb execution, Clocktower execution as our 2 game 2s and game 5 execution maps, Regency control, Vasgar escalation, and district control. So Ribs, taking a quick peek here. What are your thoughts?
Looking at that first map, Regency control, that is going to set the pace. That's so very important. John, we've seen it time and time again. If you're trying to take down a defending champion, you cannot put yourself in a hole. So Ryze needs to win that first map. I think a must win also is that second map, Vasgar Escalation. That is almost, I said that for Noble, they were going to win it for sure. But I think this is an instance where I don't see the Kansas City Pioneers dropping that third map. And then we go on to district control, one of Ryze's stronger control maps. Granted, they're very good at that game type in general. And then Toby, can we see another map 5 Clocktower? If we do, that would be just such a great show for everybody at home. What do you think?
It would be. If they can somehow get there, if Ryze can continue to be that strategic team they're known for, right? First incorporating some of the nade strats where you send more players down low and try to overtake and retake sides that way, maybe they can do it. But that's the thing for me. If you just play base strat after another on any of these modes against KCP, I don't think they can go head-to-head. Ryze need to formulate all their teamwork together, all their strats, not only in that Clocktower execution, for example, but also in that Vasgar. That's the main map for me, Ribs. I don't see KCP losing that, but if Ryze can win it, just like PK somehow beat Noble 5-4, as we just saw, then they have the potential of beating them.
I love it. So that escalation being kind of the X Factor map in game 3. But I want to ask you one more question, Ribs. Who do you think, which team is the better execution team?
I think it is going to be Ryze, especially in the fact that they are going to ban that checkout. That's why we didn't see checkout, and that is one of Ryze's weakest execution maps. They're going to take Tomb, similar to what we saw on Pittsburgh Knights. They are able to push the meta. They're able to play multiple different strategies. John, you played execution competitively. You know how important it is to have the deep pockets and have a lot of different strategies, a big strat book to say, and that's exactly what Ryze does. I mean, they have Affinity, one of the best execution players and one of the best masterminds of gears of all time. He's going to be in their ears, letting them know when to switch strats, when to change gears, and that's exactly what sets them apart. And I think that's why if they're able to win map 1, I kind of give them map 2. That's why I gave them 3-1 as my prediction earlier.
Yeah, you're spot on. I mean, I remember the days of teaming with Affinity way back when, late nights, just going through strats, creating strats, and I was always so impressed by his ability to put something great together. Meanwhile, Toby, one last question for you. Who do you think is the better control team?
On paper, right, I'll give you the stats. Ryze were 11-5 in Pro League on control. Meanwhile, somehow KCP were negative. They're 6-8 in control, which is exactly it just jumps out to you instantly as soon as I read that. It's the question of the other modes, right? It's the KCP clutch factor in execution and also 9-0 in escalation. They just don't lose it. And that's why I just think that Vasgar is so huge. If they can somehow win that, Ryze have a huge chance of winning the series. Otherwise, I just don't see it happening. And I think with the map pool in general, KCP, I think they still have the advantage.
Pulling out the stat book. I love it, Toby. Some great insights from you. And speaking of which, Toby, I want to also ask you another question because I already know Ribs and his prediction is Ryze. My prediction is KCP. You have the tiebreaker, my friend. Who you got?
It has to be KCP. Unfortunately for Ryze, yes, they've been playing very well this weekend, but KCP even better, arguably. That performance against Noble yesterday just blew me away. I mentioned the stat line earlier of Acells 15-2. Insane performance on checkout. Everything's working out for KCP right now, and I don't see how you can doubt them.
Toby Keith joining me with the KCP prediction, baby. Let's get it, Ribs. Again, I'm disappointed in you. No, actually, I really respect you for picking the tough prediction that not many would have taken. Obviously, the three of us all picked the Kansas City Pioneers. There you have it. I got KCP, Ribs going with Ryze, Toby, Kansas City Pioneers. Let us know your predictions in the chat right here, right now. Who do you want to win, Ryze or KCP? Meanwhile, we're getting ready for the game. It's just about ready. However, before we throw it over to Blaze and Reflections, we got a little special treat for y'all. It's a holiday treat. My man Blaze, Chef Blaze himself, taught Reflections a thing or two about cooking a holiday meal. Let's take a look.
So it's not every day you get a professional chef to help you out. Now, I'm not bringing Gordon Ramsay on, but I got the second best thing. I'm talking about Chef Blaze, baby. He's here today to teach me how to cook. So Blaze, what are we making?
Man, Taylor, you right. You know, I ain't no Gordon Ramsay, but I do my best out here, okay? We're making mac and cheese. Now, when y'all called my line and said, you know what, Blaze, we want to do something nice for the Gears community. We want to make something wholesome for the holidays. What can you get? What can you do? I said mac and cheese is what it's going to be.
All right, so bomb diggity, I like that. Mac and cheese, I love mac and cheese. Jacob hates mac and cheese, but Jacob's not making it, okay? And Jacob's not here, so I'm okay with that. So Blaze, let's walk through it. What are the steps to make it?
Let's start getting everything ready. So for today, we're going to be making this mac and cheese, all right? So Taylor, step number 1, oven on 350. Let's heat that sucker up. Step number 2, let's get our water going. We want to boil that so we can have that going with our mac and cheese. Also too as well, you better put some salt in that water, Taylor, all right?
Oh shoot. So it doesn't overflow?
Once that's popping off and it's boiling, we're gonna get our noodles in. It's gonna cook. We're gonna put that off to the side. As that's cooking, we're gonna be making our cheese sauce right now. After our cheese sauce, we're gonna be sauteing and frying up some bacon, okay?
Tell you what, I took the liberty to try and pre-open these bags. I didn't open this bag, Blaze.
You did it?
I guess I didn't, man.
Now is the time to open it.
Hey, how much cheese am I gonna need, by the way?
We're gonna do about 6 cups of cheese.
So half white cheddar, half sharp?
Yep, and you can mix them together.
Yo, it's literally gonna be the whole bag.
Who doesn't love a lot of extra cheese on their mac? Come on.
You know who doesn't like extra cheese on their mac or mac at all?
People who don't like dairy?
Jacob.
Huh. He probably get gas off it.
Bro, when you said we'll put the pounded cheese on the mac and cheese, that was the first thought that came to my mind. It's like, yo.
Hey.
Things aren't gonna be right for a month.
Some people can do it, some people can't. So we got the noodles going for about 12 minutes.
Okay.
You gonna taste them.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want it to be dry or too chewy.
All right.
We want to have a soft noodle, okay?
I'm not a Gordon Ramsay, right?
No.
Why you gotta say no like that? I got potential.
Taylor, let's get your bacon out.
Okay, got the bacon, got the boar's head bacon.
We're gonna chop up about 3-4 slices. As you slice them, give them like a nice little dice, okay? You know, stack the bacon up, cut it in half, and go diagonal with it.
Big poggers.
Now, Taylor, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this bacon, okay? We're gonna put this bacon in our skillet.
Okay, putting the bacon in the skillet.
Just put it on like a medium heat, okay?
Cool. Bacon's in there. Bacon's good.
You know, just keep that on a low medium heat, okay? That thing is gonna render down, it's gonna cook up. So that's gonna be nice, all right? And I don't want you, as we're doing other things too as well, I don't want you to burn it, because if you burn that bacon, I swear for God, Taylor, we are not duos no more. You hear me?
Hey, look, man.
Promise you.
I'm not gonna do it. And if I do, I got more. So you know what? It'll be all right. Okay.
Next, our cheese sauce. We gotta start building this from the ground up. Now, when it comes down to this cheese sauce, how are we gonna make it? Well, we're gonna start off with a base with a blonde roux base first. What is a blonde roux? It's just flour, it's butter. So we're gonna cook some flour and butter, and you know it's gonna start smelling like popcorn here in a second.
Do I need that in a separate pan?
Yeah, so you can put that in a separate pan. I hear some water boiling and want nothing to boil over there.
Do I need a apron?
No, you don't need the apron.
I got the apron on. It's not traditionally an apron at all. I tell you what, it'll work. Okay.
So a 1/3 cup of flour, a 1/3 cup of butter. You're gonna get that in the pan, and it's gonna start to melt down and cook off. So now what we're gonna do, Taylor, is that we're gonna get some milk in here, all right?
All right, the milk is in there with the roux.
All right, cool. So, all right, you got your bacon, you got your noodles, you got your cheese sauce. You ready?
I'm excited. I'm happy. I really am. Blissfully unaware of, if it's going to be good or bad.
All right, so guys, now we're about to start putting all of this together. Our noodles, our cheese sauce, and our bacon and panko topping. So firstly, let's go ahead, let's get our elbow noodles and let's get our cheese sauce. Let's mix those two together. Let's get them in our pan.
Yep.
And then from there, I'm gonna put my bacon mixture on top.
Yo.
Okay, so check this out. Now we're gonna slide into the oven, all right? 350, we're gonna put this in there for about 30 minutes and we'll give it a check. All right, Taylor, now, It is time for the moment of truth as we pull out our mac and cheese, boy. It is, it is time because I can smell it.
Oh,
I promise.
My. Blaze, this is looking really good. I can't lie.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Oh, I've been waiting on you for 30 minutes.
Look at that mac and cheese in a natural light. Come on.
You know, we're not that far off.
It's just bubbling.
That looks really good, man.
That's the best mac and cheese you gonna get built from the ground up.
All right, Blaze, we're done. It's finished. It's looking good. I can't lie. Wish I had some of yours, but this is gonna be second best. So let's go ahead and dig in, man. Oh my, you hear that crunch?
I heard you break through the surface. My God, Taylor. I'm gonna just walk around to the camera. Oh man. Here we go. Oh, look at that. It's stringy. Oh. Man.
Blaze.
Yes.
You're so good.
I'm so good.
Hold up. Just hold up, man.
That's up.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm a commentator. I speak for a living. Right now, I don't know what to say. Ew!
I love it. Did it turn out so good, bro? Like,
it did. It truly did. Oh my God, chat. I hope you all enjoyed it. Taylor and the gang hit me up. They said they wanted to make something festive. We said we were going to do mac and cheese, and we had a lot of fun recording that one. Taylor, that bacon, I appreciate the fine dice you had on that sucker on top of that mac and cheese.
It was diced up.
Oh yeah, it was perfect.
To a T, brother. Hey,
Chef's
I
kiss.
thought you said cubit, but you said dice. Look, hey, by the way, no joke, guys. The mac and cheese, it had me shedding a tear. It was genuinely that good. All right, so follow his recipe and make it. I know there's some debate whether or not mac and cheese is a Christmas thing or a Thanksgiving thing. Look, mac and cheese, mac and cheese is an always thing, and especially if it's Chef's Blaze recipe. Okay, the mac and cheese, it was killer.
Chat, I love y'all, okay? I saw all the love in chat. Me and Taylor have fun with it. But now it's time to get into our winners finals.
Sir.
It is Rise versus the Pioneers. We get to see these guys once again, all right? Now, when we go back and we look at when the last time these guys played, it was the Pioneers that laid a slapping down on them. But now Rise has made it back into this position, back into the winners finals against a team that gave them the L in the last major. We'll see if Rise can finally overcome their biggest obstacle. This is what they prepared for, but the Pioneers, they're looking to make a dynasty.
All right, let's get it going. Like you said, dynasty time. Hndles said in the interview yesterday, I'm not too concerned with what title you give us. We're just out here to play our game like we do best. Great opening elimination coming out from Icy onto Xysho. Quickly answer back from Acells. Rushiez will get the trade, and Rise Blaze, they'll get the first points on the board.
Yeah, Rise is going to win that first team fight down low at the Rose Garden. Good for them. Now, at this moment, you're going to see they need to spread out, and they're already on a hunt. They know a few of these players from the Pioneers already picked up the power weapons, Taylor, okay? But they want them to use them as far away from this hill as they possibly can. Use as much ammo as you want. Push this fight very far away, because the simple fact is that this weapon is not having a factor in getting any points off P1, but it may get Pioneers the spawns for P2, especially when it's early on.
And bar in hands of Xysho can be deadly with it. 5 shots remaining, like you said, going for P2. He's got a large role to hold it down for his teammates. Rushiez, he's going to go and take the initiative to rotate out, but he's going to see Hndles, and for sure going to be seeing Xysho. Missed shot, Hndles needs to hold his ground, and it's just a snub battle. Rushiez eventually will drop off. No one's there to be the hero, and that connection is going to be fantastic to drop player number 2 of Icy. So Pioneers for P2, looking like they got it locked in place. A couple more members from Rise to get through, but it looks as if they are doing so in style, and they need it. 53 points down. It's early in the game. This is the time where you don't let the enemy team get carried away.
Yeah, this is it. Now, it's the Pioneers. I love their spawn setup, and they're playing a little bit more press forward towards the middle stairs, the lower stairs at the Rose Garden, and right on top of the hill up top, because they know that they want that first line of defense there to make it as difficult as possible for Rise, because they may not make it through, especially if Xysho can get this kill on Rushiez, puts his team in a fantastic position. Now the rest of the Rise members are in a trap. Pioneers knows that Xysho misses the in-bar shot, but Rise, can they find themselves a kill? Icy goes down. Rushy finally bleeds out. DeToX and Avexys can't find kills. And Pioneers will win the third team fight of this map. You look at how much time is on that hill. It's 34 seconds. Rise should be playing for next, but Xysho, he's already kind of in position down low to really make this shift, but it's about to be a battle for M-Bar. 2v2.
Yeah. And Precision's going to be the tip of the spear. We'll actually make that Acells, playing absolutely like an animal yesterday and looking just as good today. But DeToX, hold up a second. I'm giving Pioneers a bit more love, but hey, he popped off. And at the end of the day, it's Xysho once again getting the secondary M-Bar. That's 2 in a row for him, and he is deadly, like I said before. A little bit of a skirmish for the scrap time. Hndles seems as if he's going to lock that in place. Obviously, we got to focus on next. And once you get that M-Bar, you got to start focusing on rotating around and going wide. And in this case, Rise only has Icy in the hill, and he's looking at a wall of Pioneers members.
Now Icy is just trying to hold off as long as he can till the squad gets there. Little smoke screen, tried to walk his way up for a close range battle for a shotgun chunk, but he could not get it. Rise, they're coming off the respawn. Pioneers, they got the setup in which they won't. Now they will start collecting off of some of this time. That last hill, Rise only picked up 3 points. Okay, that's not something in which they expected, but that's the type of chess match in which we're going to have here in this engagement, Taylor, as we finally got the lead change. It's finally in the favor of the Pioneers as they get geared up for this next team fight. They got a few downs, but as Precision's backing up, he has his teammates with him, but they're all going to fall one by one. Rise, make this a 2v2. Rushiez gets in there, a 1v1 meat shield battle. It's going to be him with the advantage. He drops it, grab shot, doubles back. Gets it with the back. Yay. It's Rise with advantage.
And they also have close spawns, so they're going to be able to refresh and battle against Pioneers, who's taken the low side. It's very difficult to break the hill from the low side, but Pioneers, they've got to at least try. 35 seconds, too much time to lead to the wayside. Shock inside Xysho's hand, that's definitely going to help. Pioneers, they're about to strike with the irons hot, but look at who's on the flank. Icy finds an opportunity to get behind and lance her out to get the players weak, soften them up for Rushiez and DeToX, but still Precision in the hill with the cells. It is currently being contested. Who's going to be able to win it for the final time? Well, Acells, he's full red, but it doesn't matter. But Avexys will take him down in the end, and it is Rise who not only recovered the lead, but also get the scrap time. But we got to focus on the next M-Bar. We have Hndles already set up for it, but it's going to be a challenge because Icy and Rushiez are moving in.
Yeah, it's already spawned up 2 as well. Now you're gonna see that down to come through, but the kill, 1 kill comes in. Here comes DeToX. He lost his teammates in a fight. He's trying to take another to the grave, but he can't make it happen, Taylor. So it's gonna be KCP with 3 members in the hill. They'll start to get set up, but Avexys is still behind in enemy territory. If he can win this 1v1 against player 7, that will be huge, but Xysho backpedals with the Lancer, makes it super difficult.
Super difficult indeed. Cells, M-Bar, like you mentioned, Xysho's had it the first 2 times, but Acells just as good. Pioneers, good foothold on the hill currently. This mid battle is incredibly important, and the reason why is because, well, for Rise, it gives them an off angle to help and assist DeToX and Icy push up, but Pioneers have it locked down, which means DeToX and Icy, when they do push up, they're going to get focused, not only from Acells, but also from the remaining members from Pioneers inside the hill. So this is going to be a difficult break for Rise, and made even more difficult with that body shot. DeToX pushes in. He's already down and finished off from Acells' M-Bar. Icy, he's getting sworn down. But from the flank is Rushiez absolutely out of nowhere. He penetrates the hill. He takes down 2, but still doesn't get the hill. But you can't discredit that effort. It was fantastic.
Yeah, he almost walks away with the 3rd there as well. So great effort there from Rushiez, but even better defense from the Pioneers there. They win 2 team fights on top of Statue. They get the majority of that time. We will be shifting down low towards Fountain, and that's another heal and where Rise gets less than 5 points, okay, over the 4 in which we've been through. So they're going to have to, with this setup that they have, they got to win this next team fight. They cannot lose 3 consecutive team fights in a row, Taylor. If not, I think that's momentum all in favor of the Pioneers.
And one thing that I do want to take note of, last time these guys faced against each other, it was set up very nicely, obviously, from the Analyst. They broke it down very well. Regency was one of the maps, and Rise definitely was destroyed here. It's already more competitive than that series in Pro League, which means to me, Rise, they are not phased by the Pioneers. These guys have a ton of history. They have faced off against each other multiple times, and it's usually the Pioneers who always, at least high percentage-wise, gets the win. But Rise, they're looking solid and stronger than ever. But team fight looks to be going to the way of Pioneers. Rushiez last alive. Unfortunately, he's on the opposite side of the map. So Pioneers, they're going to take an even greater lead. And Precision, once again, getting the M-bar. Pioneers have had the M-bar every single time it spawned up.
Yeah, they have, and Rise just needs to do their best to negate as much time off this hill as they possibly can, but it's going to transfer from Fountains to the top left of the mini-map at Couches, so that's the lone rotation. With 30 seconds left, Rise does not want this lead to kind of really spiral out of control for the Pioneers. Oh, you're going to see Precision get blindsided with the M-bar. Avexys gets into the fight. He is able to just start chaos as his teammates flanks up the stairs. That's going to be a 3v2 taken by Rise. They can get the remaining time on top of the hill, and he will get the M-bar as well. So, Taylor, at this moment, Rise is feeling good about winning that second team fight there for Fountains. They're not going to be able to get much, and at least they got the power weapon in hand, and they can use that for their next fight at Couches, because they're going to have to take some time. They got the nades as well, but Icy, I don't think he makes it out. Oh,
he's trying.
Gets him back. Here's the revive. Rushiez saves the day.
Yeah, and Avexys was still keeping his head down, right? So Rushiez, he had the confidence to push forward. This is a big break. Getting spawn control here on this hill is incredibly important because it's so difficult to break it if you're constantly dealing with reinforcements, right? Refreshes from the spawn. So the only member to get through is Hndles, and there it is. That is a beautiful and clear-cut and decisive win for Rise on the current hill, and Avexys still has one more in the M-bar. Unfortunately, he's going to whiff it. It is what it is. Pioneers, though, despite losing that fight and losing spawn control, it's not like they're in a bad spot on the recovery. They're going to be coming back in for a retake attempt, and with Avexys already dropping off, I do think Pioneers, they're going to have to heal very shortly, unless DeToX or Rushiez has something to say.
Okay. Rushiez with a great shot. DeToX goes wide, couldn't save his teammate. He went in for the melee versus the shot. Didn't pay off the way he wanted it to, and so now it's going to be the Pioneers who are able to kind of really spread out this spawn. They know the next hill is going to be down low at Rose Garden. Xysho will pick up that shot grenade, and he'll be able to hold off towards the back until his teammates get done with this fight up top and transition down low. But so far, the Pioneers, they are looking good with this next rotation. Now, Avexys trying to get out with this M-bar. He's getting hunted down. DeToX cuts back. He gets the call out that is going to need some help, but he's going to sacrifice his life to make sure Avexys can get away. Now, the Pioneers, they're going to disengage. They don't want to chase them through this open terrain and give them all those sight lines to work with.
Just thinking to myself, Blaze, how crazy it is. We're already back to the original rotation. It seems like if you blink, you missed it with how much action and how crazy the competition has been between these two, as you would expect in Winners Finals. It seems like it just went by in really a blink of an eye. Big battle for Roses. Xysho will drop, and it looks like Rise starting off like they did at the beginning of the map, in control of the first hill, but a little bit more work to be had, and it looks as if Rise is doing a lot better job here, especially with the team fight. I love that Icy's swinging wide to keep the pressure up on Precision, not making him feel comfortable. Now, where Pioneers did at least a solid thing in the second hill, right? In the second hill on the original rotations, they established themselves for spawn control. Rise, they didn't prioritize that as much. So this time around, learn from the mistakes. If I'm Rise, I'm going to be pushing hard, especially with DeToX spawning up there. He has a big task ahead of him to hold his ground, so Pioneers do not have position on P2.
Yeah, they don't have it just yet, and DeToX will come through with that flank. There's 2 downs on the side of the Pioneers. That's 3 kills acquired. It's going to be Hndles at the left of the mini-map at the gold spawn, waiting for his teammates to spawn up, but Xysho... did he get marked? Yeah, they know he's there. DeToX say, where you at? All right, I'm on a hunt. Gonna move on through. Regroup with his teammate. They need to make sure Xysho gets no kills in this situation, so they get that part of the assignment done. Now, Hndles gonna move in, fight for some of the scrap time, take a little 1v1. He's gonna get some help from his teammate, and Rushiez gonna let his squad know that, hey, I got about 2 to 3 on this side of the map. Spread out, give me a good respawn. But where would that respawn come through? I think it comes on the top left of the mini-map at Couches. Rushiez could get the flank up top, and he will.
It's a great body shot from Avexys, taking down one of the two members from Pioneers who pushed out. Now Precision's in a 1v2 himself. He needs to die here, and he will. And that's going to be a solid hold from Rise, at least for spawn control. But players 7 and 5, Xysho and Hndles, did find a way to break the hill and get there to apex the 200-point mark. So now Rise has to once again retake, and that's kind of been the reoccurring theme. Pioneers, despite them not having control of hills, you go back to a couple of hills ago on couches, Rise, they established themselves quite well, but Pioneers did a wonderful job getting the break, and Pioneers have been doing that consistently. It doesn't matter how good Rise sets themselves up defensively or how much spawn control they have. Pioneers, when they will pack in, or even if they have two players pushing into the 2 players of Rise to match them defensively, Pioneers are getting a successful break. That's a cause, or at least for me, a cause to pause. 240 to 174, Pioneers getting close to victory.
Oh boy, the Pioneers, they're feeling comfortable, you guys. Look at the mini map. They're backed up, 2 M-bar shots in hand. They're gonna be able to get that down towards the stairs as well, so they can move out a few players. And also Rise says, you know what, that's it. Back up, no point in losing our lives. But the most impressive part is how quickly Pioneers went on the offense, knowing what Rise's next move is gonna be. So they give up that next heal, and they're already in position for next. They barely gave Rise any time to set up, but luckily both these teams are playing at such a high level. Rise didn't need much time, all right? So this map gets spread out. New M-bar comes up in 20 seconds. It's six seconds of scrap time left on old. So with that being said, I don't think the M-bar is going to get picked for now. It could, and the Pioneers, yeah. They're going to just take their time, make sure they can get this weapon, get that extra ammo. And I think that's important. You got a little lead, a nice sizable lead, right? You're going to give up probably 20 points of getting that M-bar and getting him back in position.
Right.
And it's worth it, especially if your teammates can catch out Avexys like that. It's a 3v3 down low, and the rest of the squad really don't have to wait for him. That first defensive nade was good for DeToX. The second is even better, but he's stunned and can't get any extra help that he needs.
Yeah, I agree with Holden. Oh, Xysho is just so good. They've had the M-bar more often than not. I think the only time, correct me if I'm wrong, Blaze, that Rise had the M-bar is when Avexys got a kill and picked it up from the ground. Other than that, Pioneers, they've been the ones prioritizing the M-bar spawn. Pioneers could win off of this hill, and they would do so in an incredible fashion with a 105-point lead. So Xysho moving down. This is going to be Rise's final attempt. They need to get a break here, and they only have 2 players to do it. So, and they don't have a lot of time to do so either. 291. Rise finally gets the touch, but immediately gets shut down by Xysho with the 2-piece. Icy last one in here. M-bar rev it up, and that's going to be 3 from Xysho to finally complete map number 1 Regency, 300 to 195. Pioneers that much closer to grand finals.
Whew, the Pioneers, man, they get through map number 1 in a smooth fashion. Rise contested them multiple times and kept the score close, but for me, watching this one, it was the Pioneers, you know, after I'll say around P2 going into P3, those initial team fights that they won consecutively. From there, they started to pull away with that lead. And when the Pioneers get a lead, Taylor, that's when they're at their most comfortable, okay? That's when they're relaxed and they get to rotate early, get into those defensive setups a little bit sooner, and make it as difficult as possible for Rise's offense.
So that's a big win, 105-point win coming out from the side of Pioneers. Now, the analysts did, in fact, highlight Rise. They were asked, you know, who is better when it comes to execution? Well, they gave a lot of praise towards Rise, Blaze. Do you agree with that? Going into Tomb, will Rise be able to turn this series around and tie it up 1-1?
Yeah, you know, I think that they were right on that, you know, because when I look at this series, I feel like Rise needs to really take these executions, all right? I feel like that was their better game mode coming into this season. And, you know, the Pioneers, we know they're a super strong respawn team. Hell, both these guys are, okay? But on any given Sunday, I really think Rise needs to take one of these 2 maps at least, okay?
Yeah.
They contested in the control, but the defense of the Pioneers on Championship Sunday was just too much. And with that being said, just to come back towards map number 1 before I really dive deep into map number 2, I felt like Rise's offense wasn't strong enough, okay?
Yep.
And if they want to beat the Pioneers, that's the key to victory, all right? I think the Pioneers will outsmart Rise when it comes down to defensive setups, and they're better. So Rise off the initial on every game mode, control, execution, escalation, they gotta punch Pioneers in the mouth and strike first. From there, that's Rise setting a pace. They can play aggressive, stagger out the deaths, and you know, force Pioneers to have to play to them. And so if Rise can't do that and they foul behind, this goes into the Pioneers' wheelhouse of, okay, we can slow it down, all right, cross you out. Once we get that first kill, you're really not going to beat us because we know how to trade out, take our numbers, and play the wide angles. So Rise, they going into this execution, this is where they got to be confident on the first bloods,
Sure.
all right?
Yes.
Show the Pioneers how aggressive they can be, and if they can get this all tied up 1-1 as we go into Vasgar and District Control, hopefully they'll be playing at the fast pace that they need to get these early, to win some of these early engagements against the Pioneers.
All these guys have history on Tomb Execution. If you go back to MSP, this is where Rise was one round away from winning the MSP and obviously being one of their most major wins as a Rise organization. But Xysho ended up hitting that critical clutch play in literally round 11, and they ended up winning that. We were casting that Blaze. It was an exciting time. Now we're going back to Tomb. That was a while ago, all right? So those feelings aren't going to have an impact here. There's not going to be any nerves outside of it being winners finals. And I do believe when it does come to Pioneers playing Rise, Rise does have, subconsciously at least, you know, they've got a little bit of feelings, maybe of nerves, because it's like, man, Pioneers is the only team that can make us feel as if we aren't guaranteed to win. Like, we're not as confident to win, you know? That's a real thing. And Pioneers does that to Noble. Pioneers does that to Rise. They do it to a lot of teams they play. But Rise has to understand Pioneers is just a team. They just have 4 regular players. They're incredible players, but we can beat anybody. If Rise can just let that go, Rise can beat any team out there. But if they lose this Tomb going into Escalation Vasgar, which is a toss-up to me, I could get a little bit worried for Rise. But hey, Rise, I think they're going to be just fine. They're a fantastic Tomb team, and they have beat Pioneers on this map since that MSP loss that they ended up taking. So that, like I said, there's been plenty of time. But who's going to be the most influential player in your mind? We kind of had a chance to, you know, dictate Avexys and Acells. Their KDA, at least when it comes to champ bracket, has been absolutely phenomenal. The mid fight most likely going to be taking place. I doubt we're going to see a separation of the lanes. It's most likely going to be a 4v4 scrappy fight in mid. Avexys, Acells, impactful. But who do you think is going to be impactful to you?
You know, I actually kind of want, you know, I think Acells, not Acells, but Avexys is going to be very impactful for Rise. But, you know, I go back and I want to touch on something that you said earlier, because when it comes down to kind of how these guys are feeling today, and when it comes to Rise and them getting over the hump of the Pioneers, because this is what they practice for. And we watched 2 interviews, you know, with a player from both these squads, Avexys and Hndles. And Avexys, we talked about it earlier, Taylor, he was real humble in that interview, knowing that the job isn't done yet. This is really the team that we got to beat. We haven't played them yet. We're just trying to get to the winners finals, go up against them, and then get through the winners finals to that grand finals and finally pull it through. It's still a lot to be done that Rise hasn't done yet. But up until this point, I feel like they've done great preparation. On the flip end, we talked to Hndles too. And Hndles says, oh, you know, I'm so proud they made it to the finals to play against us again, right? But the tone in which he said that, he knew that, yeah, okay, y'all got here, but we're going to do what we did to y'all the last time y'all thought y'all was going to take us down in a big tournament. So if I'm Rise and I hear him even speaking that tone, that just gives me a different fire to play up against them. But it also shows the confidence in which the Pioneers have in these positions. And they know how important this matchup is to really get ahead of Rise and force them to have to play into their hand and force Rise to have to make some difficult decisions, some desperate plays, and really play super aggressive against them to really pull that momentum back in their favor. And so far, the Pioneers' game plan is going well. Now, to answer your second question, Taylor, okay, who needs to be the most impactful for both these squads? Rise, it has to be Rushiez, okay? Especially as we going over towards that escalation. He's going to have to put Hndles on swords, all right? He's going to have to take care of him every single round, put him on check. If he does that, he can alleviate some pressure from his team multiple rounds when they need him to. So I'm looking for him to go big on the respawns. And also, even in a 1v1 lane, he's going to have to deal with Hndles over here too.
That's fair.
All right? Well, so it's going to be interesting to see them in their matchup. But we'll see if it happens like that, because I do believe we're going to Tomb, right?
Correct.
I think, we're going to Tomb. So we'll see if it happens there on that matchup. But on the flip end, for the Pioneers, this is where Xysho is going to earn his check again, okay? Because we're going to 2 respawns. We got an escalation coming up for sure, and possibly another control, but we got to get through this map. He just needs to keep the troops focused, okay? Keep them focused. Even if the Pioneers lose this, they can still win based off the respawns.
I agree with that. I do. Respawns is where they make their money. Glad that you mentioned Xysho. I think he's going to be the X Factor. And Rushiez on Clocktower yesterday was just amazing. The nades that he was placing and throwing, and not even that, just when he really put his mind to it, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to slay you out. Hey, he did exactly that. So Rushiez could absolutely be the man to make it happen. We just witnessed Tomb here in the fifth and final map between PK and Noble. It was fantastic. I love Monkey's flank. Maybe we get a little bit more here. But Hndles gets a free pick on the torque bow and gets away without even getting down. But the silver lining for Ryze is DeToX does have the snipe.
Yeah, so it's still going to be that Hndles and Rushiez matchup in that lane. I love to see it because the next two maps, Rushiez is going to have to deal with him and really get in his head. But both power weapons get traded out. And now Ryze, they got multiple talented snipers on their team, but DeToX, he is an absolute playmaker. The same can be said with Hndles and a bow. That's going to be one of his favorited weapons to use. Now, who's going to be able to get the first blood? Who is it going to be the power weapon players, or will it happen in a 1v1 lane? It could go down in a bow lane between Rushiez and Precision. But as multiple players start to transition, this is where DeToX, he needs to be sneaky around the map, okay? He needs to make sure that, you know, the Pioneers can't mark him out, because he's going to get a shot like that. Precision didn't see him, puts himself in the right position.
And now Hndles could be the next victim. You know, torque bow is great to have, but you got to charge it up with it. Could overexpose yourself to DeToX's snipe to take your head off like he just did to Precision. But I love the respect being given. The power weapons obviously dictating the pacing here. Power weapons weren't in play. I guarantee you we would have already seen this round over with, because the teams would have been pushing into each other. Xysho's got nades, Hndles with torque bow, and again, DeToX has that sniper. But Avexys also has the shock. So there's a lot to work with for both rosters. But Blaze, overtime starts in 15 seconds. Someone's got to make a move.
And as we see, this kill is going to be right in front of the snipe. DeToX is in the right position to hit some body shots, get some angles for his team. That bow's going to be coming in from down low. You got a member of the Pioneers at the underpass as well. Two bows left for Hndles. He misses the point blank and takes himself out.
Oh, and who's in the hill? DeToX is bleeding out in the hill. Rushiez, but no, the nade from Xysho. The nade from Xysho, and the last player for Ryze is up top, and Avexys can't do anything, and Xysho with the nade gets the hill and gets round number one for the Pioneers.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Are you not entertained? Come on.
Ryze just watched that one slip through their fingers. But as you see, the kill from DeToX, it's a 3v1 for Xysho. The double nade gives him to the heel. You say, where he at? Where he at? Oh, he's nowhere to be found.
He's upstairs, man. Hey, he's in the other apartment complex across the street. He's not even going to come close to coming over for Thanksgiving. Tough break, but great play from Xysho. And it's poetic that it was Xysho. Remember, I kind of mentioned that history between Pioneers and Ryze, and Xysho was the one who made that play to get rid of Ryze in the MSP. And Xysho, once again, in round one, making that play. First blood coming out for Acells. He takes down DeToX.
And also, Snipe got picked up by the Pioneers. They're feeling comfortable in this round. Acells, all he has to do is play a little defense, but you know he's good for one. And with his teammates watching over his back, that's going to be 2 more kills coming through for the Pioneers. Rushiez 1v3. He doesn't get the space. He doesn't get the pleasure. Acells says, I could do this all day.
There's the jumping jack. Didn't Hndles talk about those jumping jacks plays? All right, he was saying, look, we can do it all day. We're putting in that work. And of course, the beatdown's got to take place. These guys love to do it, and they love to have fun and get in their opponent's hands. And Hndles letting Rushiez know what he really thinks about Ryze here. You know, this is the thing about Pioneers, brother. When they start playing like this, they get comfortable. And you mentioned that on Regency, right? They are unbeatable. They're tough to break down. Ryze can be an emotional team. So at this point, Ryze might be battling internally to get things together and say to themselves, everything is cool. That's only 2 rounds. We can absolutely still come back. So for Ryze, I really hope they don't implode. They need to keep their head in the game and understand that they are still the best team right now for North America. First place Pro League, undefeated for a reason. Or not undefeated, but at least during their pool play. They can still win this. They just got to believe.
DeToX and Acells fighting that snipe. That shock's gonna trap him in there for a bit.
Nice.
Icy first blood on Xysho. You see that aggressiveness from Ryze in the mid-map, just trying to apply that pressure there to the Pioneers, and it comes through perfectly for him. You see, they're able to get the 1 kill. Hndles able to connect with one on the bow. It's a 3v3, 3 bows left in the chamber. Gonna miss that next. But Icy, as he drops back, he's trying to see if he can get the 2v1 here on Hndles with his teammate, but he won't get the help he needs in time. Rushiez finds one. 1v2, can't come away with it. And it is going to be the Pioneers going up 3-0 in map number 2.
Coming up 3-0, despite Icy getting that first blood, that is tough. And Pioneers still feeling confident than ever. I ask you the question, 3-0 for Pioneers. Rise struggling to get a win. What do they need to do differently in your mind?
Rise needs to make the first move on one of these power weapons, or they need to, get aggressive like they did in the mid map. They got the first blood, but the thing is that I want to say it was towards once Hndles got that bow and rotated back, he was able to make that play. I think Rise did a good job playing aggressive there in that third round, but it just didn't work out. But it's like that sometimes in execution. I don't mean you deviate from the strat just yet. You got to give it 1 or 2 rounds to see if it can work out for you. And Rise stays aggressive, but they go down towards the bow. Beautiful yell triggered over the top of Icy, and he resets the fight, trying to get back in. Does he shoot through the brush? I don't think his bullets can go through, but Hndles will be able to get the bow, reset the fight. It's 3v3. Rise doesn't have any power weapon. It's a stalemate over there on the left side of the map at the sniper. We'll see who can get this next kill, Taylor.
Well, Rushiez, the guy you said needed to step it up, or at least needed to, obviously be that guy to really make a big impact here. He does have 2 kills. 1,900 damage done. Opposite of Acells is a scary sight, though, because Acells, he's got all the confidence in the world, especially after his performance yesterday. But like you said, no one wanting to make the move. Bit of a stalemate. Where's that first move going to be made? Because if Acells pushes forward, yes, he's got Rushiez to deal with, but he can also get crossed. But either way, here it is. They're finally closing the gap. Rushiez trying to get that shot, but Acells doesn't take the bait. Rushiez now on the back of Acells, feeling confident, but neither one able to get the competitive edge just yet. Rushiez doubles back. He's red. Acells knows Rushiez is right for the taking, but Rushiez refuses to go down. But a bit of a roll, but Acells drops anyways because the help from the other Rise members, and Xysho is now last alive in a 1v3, and surely he's going to die and get dropped in this moment. And yes, he will. Rise will finally stop the bleeding a little bit, win round number 4, and bring it 3-1.
Yeah, that was good for Rise. They had to really slow that one down, okay? Because they let that 4th round go in favor of the Pioneers. I think it's looking really slow for him in map number 2 at that point. But with the efforts of Avexys and Icy towards the mid-map there, they were able to get that first kill, able to save Rushiez there in his 1v1 fight against the Acells and bring the round in for him. We got a 1v1 matchup in the snipe lane, 1v1 in the middle, but the 2v2 is going to ensue down low at the Torque Boat once again. It is going to be DeToX and Rushiez versus Hndles and Precision. A flash goes towards the back. DeToX taking a lot of shots. He needs his teammate to alleviate some of this pressure, but they're not as coordinated as Precision and Hndles there in that fight, and they were quickly able to put out that damage. Acells gets a double of his own. Him and Xysho able to work together to win their 2v2 fight as well.
I'm getting flashbacks from that Pro League matchup. I really am. Regency was respectable. It really was, especially from Rise's perspective. But they lost by 105 points. But here, it just seems as if Pioneers have all the confidence in the world. Rise still trying to figure out what they want to do.
Rise got to throw smokes and get loose.
Yeah, they got to get loose. And that's very well said. I think right now they're just in their head. They're trying to do the most. And right now, just don't overthink it. Right, you know what you need to do. You've been here before, and it's just time to execute it. Right, but Acells already getting first down onto Avexys, and there he is. He's gone.
Yeah, they focus Avexys out there towards the middle portion of that map, but it will be a 3v3 now. The bow is still up, but no one on Rise is going to go for the weapon just yet. They don't know the exact position of the sniper. Don't want to lose their head. Xysho is really weak, but he gets backed out. Acells steps up with the sniper to give him a lane to be able to escape, but the bow was picked up throughout the chaos. Great awareness from DeToX to be able to bring some balance here for Rise.
3v3. Acells looking for his next victim. He does have 2 players just in front of him. One is actually going to go ahead and rotate over, which, funny enough, we do have 8 and 2 Rushiez, and Xysho might get into an engagement relatively soon. They see each other. Acells, he's going to come in, assist Xysho. Rushiez kind of pinned up from around the corner. Whoa, he connects, and now there's another connection from a torque bow. DeToX, opposite of Xysho. DeToX wants to close the gap. Xysho saying, back up off me. I don't want the smoke just yet, but hey, he actually comes up into his face and takes him down. Now it's a 2v1 IC last alive, and he's forced to retreat.
Yeah, Xysho was really aggressive there in that fight. You know, DeToX, after he got the bow kill, I don't know if he knew if Xysho was to his left, because from there, I think he got really aggressive to go play for the 1v1, but once he took a solid shot from Xysho, he knew that he wasn't going to let DeToX regain that health, and he's going to stay aggressive right hand, left hand. It didn't matter. He just timed his shots really well, and that was what got Pioneers in this 2v1 situation, as it's going to be all up to Icy to do something special, as he has to dodge one nade. Can't do it. It's going to be Pioneers at map point.
Map point. Whew. It's tough to look at that box score. It really is. Thinking about it in regards to winners finals, we talked about Rise just having to let that history go, but it looks as if Pioneers are just playing so well. That was a big turning point, that connection. I love that. But Xysho in this play, that was just all confidence plays.
Yeah, all confidence, okay? He knew what was up. He knew that he had that play in the bag. Now, Rise, we've seen this squad make comebacks before, okay, from this type of deficit. I think they've made some 6-round comebacks in some past matches, all right? And it starts with plays like that, as Rushiez going to be able to get first blood. Sniper's going to be in his hand. You see how he's shifting his position?
Come on.
Woo!
There it is.
Get the second. That bow's going to be on the ground. It's a 4v2 in favor of Rise, and they're going to finally be able to get a quick round on the board, one in which they need it.
Yeah, definitely so. They need everything they can get at this point in time. In fact, they've got to win 4 straight rounds in a row if they want to flip the script, really change their luck and obviously type the series 1-1. Acells having a field day, 10 kills to his name, 6,800 damage done. And Acells, someone in chat just said Acells is literally a walking two-piece. That was perpetrated out there. And I agree. Acells is a guy that you put anybody in front of him, he's going to eat them alive. But hey, Rise, that was a solid round. Let's carry that momentum forward.
Yeah, whenever he go into the gym, he always doing at least 2 sets, okay? 2 sets of everything. All right, don't come his way. Xysho taking a lot of damage. Beautiful back A, but he put out enough damage for his teammates to be able to move in and get that double. But a 2v2 on the map. It's going to be Rushiez and DeToX versus Hndles in precision. This is going to be a bloodbath. Rushiez has snipe in hand. The shock as well. DeToX, no nades for him, no power weapons, but on the flip end, it's going to be Hndles with a flash and a bow. So both these squads got some utility and some power weapons to work with, and DeToX finally going to get him some utility nades to use, but not just any nades. They're going to be the frag grenades. My only concern is I don't think Rise knows where Hndles is at. They definitely know where Precision's at, okay? They definitely know that, but have they spotted Hndles? Well, I'm not so certain, and that could be why they're pressuring Precision as hard as they are, thinking he's isolated by himself. But we do see Hndles going to be joining into the mix, and Rushiez needs to make a good shot count. Make it count. Player 2 is right again. Does he know Hndles is there? That's my biggest X factor. Hndles might not have been spotted yet. My question is, does Precision get headshotted in the same spot? These are the real questions different player, right? Yeah. But I'm not sure if they do know that Hndles is there. They're expecting him to be there. Just because the fact is they knew they wasn't on this side of the map, and that would be a more favorable position to be in. So with that being said, I still think Rise has the advantage with 2 nades. They threw him out like that. But now I think the Pioneers have the advantage with Hndles having the high ground, the shock in now for bows. I'm really curious to see how this one plays out. Surely Pioneers do not blow these advantages the way that Rise just did. Oh, Hndles last alive, but he hops inside the hill. The shock's gonna be there. He's bleeding out, and Rise will stay alive a little bit longer. And with the way that played out, can't lie, it was funky. And I do believe the nades were thrown out just to kind of clear that left corner. I don't think they knew where Hndles was at that point. And I think that's why the nades were thrown, just to clear it out. Still, though, definitely one nade would have been enough. You didn't have to throw out both, but to each their own. Hey, no worries. Rise still got the victory. You could have let the heal just pop up, Sure. Like from there, you would have saw the motion. they would have moved around, and you know they're not gonna go cap that hill with you having 2 nades. Hell, you know, use 1 nade for the bait. But as we're gonna see, this 2v2 fight breaks out once again. DeToX gets some solid shots in.
Nice.
But that's a better one from Icy. Will they hunt Precision down? They will not. They actually do pursue a little bit. Icy's on the move. Xysho's on the flank, though. DeToX and Icy have to be careful not to get blindsided. They will be able to slow down and wait for help as Xysho gets crossed. Great shot from DeToX. Now a 3v2 as Acells in Precision, looking to go big for the Pioneers. They gotta hit at least one of these headshots. Oh, that one just misses, but you see Avexys doesn't let up the pressure.
Whoa! Whoa! And a body on DeToX. It's a 2v2. I thought Acells was dead to rights. The Lancer. Oh, but a better torque bow shot brings it to a 1v2. Precision. Last alive. Now, the only benefit is DeToX only has 1 more shot remaining, but will it be enough? It got the splash damage. DeToX wants to close the gap. Precision not going down without a fight. No, he's not going down without a fight. He might be full red, but he doesn't care, Blaze. It's a 1v1 opposite of Icy.
Oh, whoa, what is that? 49% health on Icy. Okay, I thought it was more. But the fact is that we're even in this 1v1. DeToX got to slow down there. You saw the shock to the right. Why did you have to go in there and feel like you had to be the hero? Why did you have to keep playing at that pace? In the end, it's coming down to a 1v1 Precision versus Icy, as this has been a wild round. If Rise wins this one, to me, that's 2 back-to-back rounds that they kind of got blessed with, but they kind of, they roughed out, right? You know, they just, Precision pushes these, the blind fire. Oh, man.
Yeah, you saw it. You saw when that damage came in, Blaze, you knew it was over with. And there it is. Pioneers will complete 2 maps in a row after winning 2, 6-3, forcing a ton of pressure on Rise's shoulders, right? They've got to turn this series around. They've got to be flawless 3 maps in a row. And it starts with Vasgar. Escalation coming up next. Shout out to Acells. 12 kills, 2 assists, 8,700 damage done. Impressive stuff. Rise, we need an answer back. The fans need an answer back. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, Vasgar Escalation coming your way. And welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Fall Major Winners Finals between Rise and Pioneers. A story that has been told many, many times. And unfortunately, it seems as if it's following suit with the other books. 2-0 lead for the Pioneers. They win Regency 300-195, and then they win Tomb 6-3. It was looking like Rise was going to start coming back, Blaze, but unfortunately, that 1v2 at the end did them in.
Yeah, it really did. Oh, man. They found themselves down just about, what, 3 was down. They were down 3-0 to kick this map. From there, they started to try to claw their way back into this series, and they trade out the next 6 rounds 3-3, but they just need a little bit more time. And we also saw them blow a few different rounds. That last round specifically, I just felt like DeToX was a little bit too aggressive there, because that should have came through for Rise. But in the end, it seems like they are starting to warm up here in the winners finals, but it may be a little too late with the Pioneers in this dominant position of being up 2-0. And I can't think of the last time I saw Pioneers blow a lead like this with an escalation coming up. Another control and that execution in game number 5, where, you know, their record in that dynasty that we talk about could be on the line. We typically see them play with another flavor when they do make it to those game 5s.
Yeah, absolutely. 2-0 lead, Pioneers blowing that just simply doesn't happen. And I agree with you. I can't remember when that last happened. Now, we have the best viewers out there in chat, and we love having you. Fanboy XF saying reverse sweep. Hey, he's trying to call it early, okay? Because Pioneers called it early on their social media. And shout out to them for doing that. It takes balls to, tweet something out like that, but they did it, and they made it happen against Noble. But will Rise be able to do the reverse sweep? Well, they've got a tall task ahead of them. Vasgar Escalation, map number 3. Hey, Escalation is normally the turning point when it comes to these series, especially if you're down 2-0. But we got a bit of a history lesson to throw your way, okay? Last time these guys played against each other, we brought it up. It was during Pro League, and Pioneers beat Rise 3-0. When they went into that Vasgar Escalation, which was the same map that happened in Pro League, they destroyed Rise 5-1. It wasn't even competitive, and it was after they dominated the first 2 maps. So it's looking like we might be seeing the same ending to this series that we saw in Pro League.
Yeah, that's what it was looking like, okay? And I'm going to put the pressure back over there on Rushiez and when we go over to Vasgar to really perform there in those 1v1 lanes and just take over because we saw, like, I want to say a position switch there towards that last map with him and DeToX in their spots, and Rushiez was getting aggressive on the cells, kind of playing for that snipe. Now, on the flip end, I will say this, that Rise is going to have to play with nothing to lose over these next 3 maps. It's still a chance for them, but whatever game plan they came in here with is not working out for them, okay?
Right.
It's a little bit too slow to how I feel like they need to play to take down this Pioneers team. But you also don't want to be too fast because the simple fact that Pioneers, they do look for over aggression, right? So I will say that I want Rise to have more confidence off their initials to be able to know that, hey, let's go get these first bloods, make the first play, because you're going to have to take it with every time. If you play it too passive and the Pioneers see that, they will try to outthink you. And more times than not, they outthink teams when you give them that time.
Think about Vasgar here, specifically in this series. Rise, if they're going to win this, they need to come out the gate swinging. They need a dominant win. They cannot allow Pioneers to win this round number 1 in a dominant fashion. I cannot believe Acells just literally put himself between 3 members of Rise. Acells, I believe in you. We called you a walk-in 2-piece. Perpetrate will back that up. But brother, that was not the play.
You got caught slipping. Probably wasn't expecting this play from Rise, but I love this initiative from Rise because they get to play with the height advantage, right? Even just having someone at the back towards luggage able to shoot down and be there for the squad, it pays dividends. So Rise playing together. They probably feel like this is the better 3v3 fight on this side of the map rather than playing down low from the tank side where they know that it's a bigger advantage for the Pioneers. So they're taking the fights in which they want, and I like that from Rise to kick off this map.
Precision backing up, going over towards tank. He could be pursued by IC and Avexys, and that's why we do see Xysho rotate around. Pioneers have recovered the 2-1 scoreline, literally just in favor of Pioneers at this point. Before that, it was all tied up. Oh, good down onto DeToX, and you got Acells to complement it as well. Good recovery, and this could get scary for Rise because we're looking at 3 down now plays, and look at how quickly they are swarming in onto Avexys, the last remaining member from Rise, and onto the only hill Rise currently has control of.
Yeah, and as you see, the Pioneers have already swarmed this home hill. This will be the first round going into the books for the Pioneers, as long as you don't see any big plays from Rushiez, and yeah, he's not going to have the time to be able to do anything there. So Pioneers strike first, and that's off the back of them winning that team fight up top on the C hill. They were able, I want to say they won 2 fights up there to be able to push forward and get this home hill. Also, the 1v1 player at the bottom side of the map just pushing up at the right time to get that pinch and put that pressure on Rise. So good job to the Pioneers there. Let's see how Rise is going to adjust going into this next round.
Yeah, great job indeed from the Pioneers. And again, something Rise definitely did not need to happen in round number 1. They've got to get confidence back, and that happens by dominating round by round basis. Here we go, though. Rushiez, you said needed to step it up, or we expect a lot from him. He's going to be attacking this left side. This time around, Pioneers playing with a 3-man push onto C. Already going to be outnumbered with Avexys and Rushiez, who are going to be having to battle against them. But, of course, they do have the 2v1 advantage onto the tank fight. Precision did everything he possibly could, but DeToX and IC ran through him, and that's going to put Rise in control of B, but still behind. So now they need to get their hands on A, and that's what DeToX is looking to do.
Yeah, great speed from Rise to get the 2v1 down low at B, but you also see how the rest of the squad comes through for that pinch to get the domination. Now, I thought Rise was going to play it as a 2-2, but they left DeToX by himself on that side of the map. I would like that 2-2 strategy just a little bit better to, kind of slow it down, wait for that player to come off the respawn. And if you take that extra 10 seconds, you'll have 2 clean fights. But they'll take a quick capture at C. They lose 2 players as they have a few trying to retreat so they don't give up full map control. But as you see, the C hill quickly goes in favor of the Pioneers, and Rise is going to have to break out and take a similar engagement as they kicked off this round, and they may have to go back to that 2-2. If they don't, they're going to rush 3 players through the spawn, which isn't technically a bad idea because they know all 4 members are alive for the Pioneers, and no one else is going to be able to be behind them. So Rise makes it up towards the spawn side, and now we do kind of see this 2v2 fight about to break out, but player 1, he's going to cut back to the rest of the team. to get a flank on these stairs.
If Rise loses this fight, I do think they're going to have another chance because Pioneers are going to pump the brakes. And wow, wait, hold on. This could be 3 down. That's going to be 2 at least. And yeah, that's 3 down. They're not going to pump the brakes, brother. They're going full send over towards B. Rise has a chance to get off the respawn and get a touch onto C, but we've seen that story play out many, many times. Icy will get a touch. The round will continue, but it's going to take a lot to get these guys off from Precision and Xysho. Decap is in. They do get it, but there's still so much work to be done with the scoreline being in favor of Pioneers, but that's a start.
That's a huge start as he's going to get the mark for his team. He knows he has to quickly play off that double kill. Now, players 3 and 1 being Avexys and DeToX, they got to take that 2v1 now. They let those players come off the respawn. This is going to be looking real slow for Rise in the late game. They know that, but the same thing happens on the other side of the map when it comes down to Rushiez and Ices. They'll win that Rushy with a fadeaway shot. He gets quickly to the next fight, knowing his teammates need him. As Avexys tried to take one to the grave, but he will not be able to. It's Rushiez who gets back into position. Who tried to get into position. He doesn't make it there in time. It's going to be the Pioneers getting their home hill back, and that should be the round for him.
Yeah, I love Avexys, coming off of respawn, getting the 2-piece like he did, giving Rise a chance on borrowed time. And Rise just about took that round, pulled the rug from underneath the Pioneers' feet, but that was a good recovery from Pioneers. A 3v2 on A, right? And obviously Pioneers had the 3, Rise had the 2. That would have been a great round for Rise to swing the momentum back into their favor. Unfortunately, they do fall a bit short. However, again, the silver lining, Avexys picking up that 2-piece, that could still give confidence to Rise. And long shot mid. The last team to do this was Rise against this roster, against this roster, and that was with Fran on the roster. And you know why they did it? Because Pioneers had no idea how to react to it. They threw that wild card out, and Rise with the Fran roster ended up beating that old VQ roster, and now they're going back to their old tricks. Things are about to get crazy.
They are. Quick 2v2 fight happening between the home hills, and this is going to be a fight won by the Pioneers, able to recover right there in that situation. They'll push through. The Avexys winning his 1v1 against Precision down low at B. That'll buy some time there for the rest of his squad mates to come off the respawn and push towards a different side of the map. But Xysho with a snipe in hand, Taylor, he's just going to hold back here, find some angles. He's in the best spot he can be in. Hits a body shot against Avexys, but he misses the second shot. Almost.
I kind of wanted to see Avexys win that because he's made some good plays. He's the reason why Rise was able to keep the game alive, right? If he loses the fight on tank off the initial, that would have been a quick domination. Pioneers would have already been up 3-0. So you got to give a lot of credit to Avexys for keeping the round alive and allowing Rise to fight back. 3v3 fight for C now, and Hndles getting the first down on DeToX. He's quickly back in, but he's not feeling too comfortable. That's a second down and out, and Precision is not letting go of the Lancer fire.
3 members of Rise. They get the double down. That's what they needed. But can they get the kill cleanups? Icy wrap shot melee. There it goes. 2 for Rise. That's going to get them 2 hills as well. Now, at this moment, Rise, with them having the lead, they can kind of really slow it down. You don't want to be too aggressive down low towards B. It's going to be a snipe in the hands of Xysho. They're going to get them marked up, and Rise is going to hold their defense for now, but they did get the call out about multiple members of the Pioneers trying to go from home hill to home hill up top. Xysho disengages on screen. He's going to back up with the rest of his teammates, and this is where we got to ask ourselves, the new sniper, is it going to come up? Can Rise cut through that mid-map and have an influence at an A? 30 seconds till. Rise, if Rushiez gets his kill now, Taylor, they're in a great spot, but he trades. It's not the worst thing in the world. As you see another trade, 2v2 on the map. Rise needs to get C. Xysho with a shotty in hand tries to create space, maybe get a snipe shot, but DeToX, he's breathing down his neck, trying to make him feel uncomfortable. But it's going to be the Lancer fire from Precision from downtown, and I mean downtown, okay? Hawaii to the server. He makes the bullets connect. And it is going to be the Pioneers with the advantage on the map.
Big advantage, and now they're going in for the domination. They're committing it all. Hndles opposite of Icy. Icy needs to stay alive, much like Avexys did before. Rise, however, off the spawn. They are going to be able to push back players 5 and 6, and they're going to be able to take A. But with Icy dying, that's still the 2-1 in the favor of Pioneers, and time is running thin. 15 seconds remaining, and unfortunately, Rise doesn't have anybody to even go over towards B at this point in time. So I think this is going to be over with, and with Rushiez and Avexys dying off, it was a great fight, the closest round we've had had Yimp Blaze, but the end result is still Pioneers getting the victory. They lead 3-0.
Ooh, every single round of Pioneers, after that first initial team fight that breaks out, even if they lose a member, right? That next rotation, once the, as Colin loves to say, this is like the horse track, right? And once the race gets going, the Pioneers always figure out the best rotation to pace themselves for victory, rather if they have to buy time for players to come off the respawn, and that could be Hndles, extending that, throughout 1v1s and his rotations, or they get that first kill and they know that they can sprint to the finish line and go for that domination. They seem to always make the best next play after that initial, and that's what's been winning them these rounds. And so I say to Rise out there, it just comes down to them really outthinking the Pioneers. They just have to be consistently better, but it's hard because it's really coming down to a game of inches. As we see this fight breaks out, Taylor, it's a 2v2 to start down low at B, but the map spreads out diagonally as you have to watch this sniper. But after the initial, the Pioneers, they saw what they saw at B, and they said, you know what, let's back up, get the cross on Icy, and this is that next play in which I'm talking about.
So Pioneers, they do get Hndles with the sniper, but he doesn't guarantee it. He's going to get away because he's getting hunted down by Rushiez. Full red, no worries. He handles his own and gets away. Because Hndles gets that sniper, he did have help from at least the upper angle, and that led to a 2v1 and ultimately Rise getting the B hill. But still, Pioneers, they've got the 2-1 end the point lead, and Hndles is ready to go to pop some heads. DeToX with the 2-piece on the opposite end, by the way, opens up the door to get onto A, and that forces Hndles and Acells to not allow Rise to get on C.
Huge from DeToX, as he's going to be top on the A hill. He's going to disengage. He has this flank on Hndles. Will he get there in time before he gets crossed out? No, Hndles got help from his teammates at the right time, but this becomes a 2v2 fight with the Pioneers in a great position to defend their home hill. And we're entering the midway portion of this map as Precision is getting pressed. He goes down. A flank on the stairs arrives at the right time for Rise to be able to take 3 players into this A hill and possibly get a cap. The remaining 2 members, not the remaining 2, but 2 of the 3 guarding this A hill, as the other member from the Pioneers will rotate down at B. It is going to be a 4v4 on the map for now, as Rise has 3 players looking to fight this fight. It breaks out, and the shots will connect with the Retro Lancer as the damage is output. Pioneers, they make this a 2v2 fight, and it's going to be Rise who comes out on top.
Yes, sir, and Icy was instrumental in that just as much as Avexys. Great job from him, getting rid of that player to the right side. And you notice Cog Team, they've got the win condition Blaze. It's still in favor of Pioneers in terms of the point lead, but if Rise can hold on to what they got, they can ultimately win this. I like that they're applying pressure on B. It's been consistently a 2v1 in favor of Rise on that tank fight. But it looks as if player 6 rotating through mid. I thought he was going for the fresh snipe, but is he going to commit for it? Well, he might, but Avexys is ready to counteract him and mow him down and not allow him to get away if that becomes the case. Pioneers, that lead starting to dwindle, brother. It's going to be a close one, even if Rise holds on, but it looks like they are holding on. They just need a little bit longer.
Acells just got another 2-piece. My God. Okay, look at the skulls on your mini map. All right, where that came in from. He finally goes down, but that was still a big play for him to be able to open up for his team to extend. Now, Avexys, if he can get one of these guys and just neutralize his heal, it puts Rise in the best place as a flank comes through. Kills will go down at C, but this A hill not being decapped will give the Pioneers the win condition to take this round. They're going to be losing B as well.
Wow.
And that's Pioneers 4-0 up in the winners finals, 1 round away to sitting in the grand finals to defend their throne against whoever comes from that loser side.
Yeah, at this point, whether it be Pittsburgh Knights or Rise, man, Pioneers is ready to go. Grand Finals again. And man, like we said, they haven't lost in 4 months. That includes MSP, that includes the Spring Major or Summer Major, that includes the Fall, well, excuse me, it might include the Fall Major, but at least it includes Split 1 Grand Finals for Emergence Days. These guys simply haven't lost, and they're not looking to start losing. Now Rise has to get the ball rolling, but everything they do, no matter how close the rounds are, they always fall short. And Acells will open up with first blood, taking down DeToX.
Now Rushiez, as he's trying to scurry back, set up, make sure that no one can get behind him. He gets crossed out there towards the mid-map as well, so he's in a difficult spot. But Xysho gonna have to double back, take care of Icy as he gets some more help with Icy. You see the cross. He'll call for reinforcements with DeToX. Icy misses the wrap shot, and a quick turnaround from Xysho gets him the 1v1 victory at the mid-map. It is going to be Xysho who will finally go down. That's 2 downs on the side of the Pioneers, 2 players that I don't see get a revive, but as I say that, player 7 will revive 8, and DeToX with a snipe in hand. He's going to back up and just defend this home hill with the Avexys and hope his teammates can get the pinch on the other side of the map.
All right, DeToX, what can you do? Currently, Rise obviously have the lead, but he's already being broken. But Rise, no worries.
Smart.
They find a way to keep the 2-1 back into their favor on the top end. DeToX sniper, he knows he's getting pressure. The spider senses tingling, and he'll connect onto Xysho with a nice heady. And but either way, Pioneer's still getting the 2-1, but that puts a lot of pressure onto Hndles, who now has to hold and defend against a 1v2.
DeToX has the angles he wants. Not gonna be able to hit that shot, but Rise, they need to take this 2v1 on top of this D hill for now. DeToX get the body shot. He'll be able to hold that player off, and Rise does get that engagement. Even though with them getting flanked at D, they'll be able to hold off for now as DeToX is under pressure. Gonna double back, get some help from Icy. To 2. Oh, all of Rise goes down in the corner, and that's going to be Acells who gets there at the last second to save the day. Hndles with a little love tap there on top of the home hill. And the Pioneers with F and D to their name, they'll be able to just slow this map down a bit. But if players 5, yeah, okay, that's Precision. He's finally going to go to the respawn, and when he comes out the respawn, his goal is to protect the D hill. But for now, Pioneers is going to set up their defense at F because they know that's the hill that Rise has to play for.
All right, F is in fact going to be decap, but player 3 does die off. Oh my lord, and a nice shot from Acells will drop Rushiez. IC is forced to retreat away, and Pioneers once again having the 2-1. DeToX still holding tight onto the sniper, but that's 3 down. Is this going to be the end, Blaze? Well, it might be. 30 seconds. Pioneers will solidify their spot in grand finals.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. Rise, it's only 3 of them alive on the map, and they have to be quick. They need to possibly get a snipe at F, but the Pioneers won't allow that to happen. They're going to force Rise to have to play into that D hill, but with that decap coming through, it's still doable, Taylor.
Still doable, still doable. Stay alive. Acells trying everything he can to hold Icy at bay. Icy not going down, though. Acells peppering him up. But oh no, and Icy will fall. And that 5-0 win means Rise will be dropping down to the loser bracket to fight for their tournament life. Meanwhile, Pioneers will be sitting pretty in grand finals once again.
Man, Pioneers made another statement, okay? They could do this all day, all right? It's just a little warm-up. That's the winner's finals, all right? Acells says it's good. Don't worry about it, all right? We're ready. We got the 1-map lead in the grand finals, and we are ready for whoever comes from that loser side of the bracket. The Pioneers, man, when it comes down to that escalation match, Taylor, it was a masterclass. Honestly, was. Yeah. You know, no matter what Rise threw at them, you know, even if Rise was slightly successful to start, the Pioneers was very decisive on that next move. They were quick off the rotations, and they were always able to find a way to recover between that early and mid game to get the victory in the late.
They're a scary team. They really are. It should be apparent by now after seeing that match, but it should be apparent by seeing their performance over the past 4 months. But Pioneers is a team that when they get that competitive advantage, they don't let go of it, okay? They don't slow down either. They're scary up close and personal in the CQC fights. They're scary when they play the long passive game as well. There's a lot going right for them, and they are tough to defeat. Case in point, obviously getting the victory over Rise. Hey, but Rise, they're not done just yet, right? They still have Pittsburgh Knights they got to get through.
Yeah, they do, right? And so we have seen this matchup. It'll be the 3rd time in which we saw it so far throughout this weekend. So our analysts will have a lot to talk about for that one. But, you know, the Pioneers, they made this matchup so quick. I don't know what they got to really say about this series.
Know. But it's their job to say something. So, analysts, you got to break down that 3-0 Pioneers in grand finals. Rise trying to stay alive now against Pittsburgh Knights. What do you guys have to say?
Boys, there's a lot to say, and it all revolves around the fact that KCP is hands down looking like the best team in Gears of War right now, and Acells, the best player in Gears. Ribs, do you agree?
I'm not hearing Fallout.
I was muted in Discord. The stream can hear me. Ribs can hear me. I said there's a lot to say. Ribs, it looks like KCP might be the best team in Gears, and Acells might be the best player in Gears right now. Do you agree?
Oh, well, undoubtedly. KCP, they're the dynasty. They're defending champions, back-to-back champions. If they're ever going to lose, it's going to have to take a team to come out swinging. Rise didn't do that. That's the version of Rise that you don't want to see on Winners Finals. That's not what we've seen all weekend. Taylor talked about the fact that Rise got 3-0'd in Pro League, and that was the version of Rise we saw versus KCP. So the bottom line is Hndles said, we have the best reserve tank in Gears. We could do this all day. That's why Acells is always doing jumping jacks. There's a reason he uses that emote. He's trying to show you, like, we are prepared at all times. You could probably wake the KCP roster up at like 4 a.m. in the morning and tell them they have to play for $1 million or play for their lives, and they're probably going to win. Meanwhile, Rise, they have to wake up at 11, 12, and all of a sudden they look like they haven't played. They're playing impatient. They're not on the same page. And you see it mostly on Tomb, Toby. I don't know if you noticed. There's way too many instances where Rise looks like they're rushed, or they look like their comms are cloudy. You also saw it on this map. So, and when you go against the best team, arguably the best team that we've seen ever, Gears 5, you cannot play like that, Toby.
Okay. Yeah, and honestly, this kind of relationship now between Rise and KCP reminds me of the Envy Optic relationship of Gears 4. I don't know what it is, but as soon as Rise and Envy back before play against their arch nemesis, whether it be KCP or Optic, they just seem to lose a lot of that organization and teamwork they obviously need against a team like this, which they usually use to great extents against other teams. I mean, and you used the two map as an example as well. I mean, even when they had some really good rounds and some good strats being introduced, that was kind of the limit that they were taking it to. They weren't able to really, oftentimes, pull through on those difficult rounds where KCP were just going off and doing really well with the shotguns. I remember on Tomb in particular, Rushiez ran to a nade essentially, trying to save his team.
That's the first round. That's a momentum. That's a momentum.
Exactly.
Like, I'm glad you brought that round up. I almost forgot about it. You have to know he has nades. You have to know you still have a teammate alive. You have to know that revive is never going to be the play. Instead, you give Xysho the freest double kill of his life. Avexys is out of position. Those are the type of mistakes that Rushiez shouldn't ever make. He's an extremely smart player, but for whatever reason, he comes into the matchup half asleep or just not aware. You know, obviously we're not in the comms, right, John? But what we just saw was a team that just looked unorganized, a team that looked like they didn't even deserve to be in Winners Finals. And sure, I hyped them up. I built the storyline. They can beat KCP because they can. They've done it in the past, but not when they're playing like that.
Yeah, absolute facts. And the scoreboard tells the story here. 300 to 195, 6-3 on execution, 5-0 clean sweep on escalation. And those highlights were really told every story you needed to see. Every single 1v1 that was witnessed in those highlights was KCP over Rise, outskilled, outclassed, outstratted across the board. KCP just handled business. And I guess my question is, Toby, is that an example of maybe Rise didn't show up strong, or is it more of an example of KCP is that good?
I think it's a combination, right? Me and Rebs clearly just went, into the details about maybe Rise playing inconsistently and making mistakes, right? Clearly, that example on Tomb is one of those, undeniable for sure. But KCP, they just turn up. They just show up, right? Remember, just Vasgar in particular, 5-1 Noble right before. Today, they 5-0 Rise. I mean, I at this point in time, I do not know why anyone is playing Pioneers on Vasgar. Just do not play it. It doesn't matter how good you are on it. It's not going to work out, right? And so far from what we've seen, the teams, when they do play against Pioneers, they need to play better than they ever have before. But for some reason, they start to play a little bit worse. And Pioneers, not only are they playing at their best, but they're playing at their tournament level, their championship level. And clearly, I don't think anyone can essentially beat that unless they somehow turn up, perhaps in a way that PK have turned up. Maybe PK can bring some more of that energy that we saw earlier.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Absolutely is reminiscent of the old Optic Gaming dynasty. This is the new dynasty. It's the Kansas City Pioneers, but they're not done yet. And I agree with you. I think if there's any team that's going to be able to maybe catch fire or maybe get some type of Cinderella run and beat KCP, maybe it's the Knights. I mean, what a story that would be, the 8th seed coming into this tournament. They obviously have a big test ahead of them in Rise, but they got to be watching that Rise matchup, that last game, and saying, you know what? I'm feeling good about this one, Ribs.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Rise, on the side of Rise, they have to regain for sure, but the Knights have to be happy. I mean, they already got one of the biggest upsets they could have asked for, beating Noble early on today. Keep in mind, PK came out this weekend, lost the very first match. They had a terrible Pro League showing. Knights have to be on top of the world, but they have to continue to push through. I think Rise will still be a tough test for them. Of course, it will be. Rise has already beaten the Knights twice this weekend, so there's still so many different things that could transpire. But on the side of KCP, you guys just continue to impress everybody, sitting now in grand finals with a 1-0 map advantage over whoever comes out of losers. It's looking like history is going to repeat itself. 2 teams left and losers will see what they can do against each other very shortly.
Yeah, and I'm excited to not only see what they can do in the grand finals and in these matchups, but also hear directly from them, because guess what? We had one of the best interviews with Hndles yesterday, and Hndles was hyping up his team, gassing up, explaining things in the background. Now we got the same person he was hyping up. It's Acells live with Colin the Crow Clark. I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to Colin with an interview with Acells.
What's up, everybody? I am here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, building an absolute monster of a legacy. How are you doing, Raul?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I can't complain. Look, I'm the lucky one. I get to sit here with you after coming off that hot 3-0. I got to hit you with the first question, though. Look, Hndles last night said that Rise is one of your favorite teams to play. Is there any particular reason for that?
Honestly, actually, I don't really know why he said it, to be honest. I mean, honestly, it's war, to be honest. But I mean, today, as you've seen, it wasn't really war. It was just, the right thing and with the W.
So tell me real quick, you go into that Vasgar matchup. Last time you were in there against Rise, it had a guy named Franchise on the squad. They put down a long shot. It seemed to throw you guys for a loop. This time, they put the long shot down. Y'all didn't miss a beat. Is that something y'all had studied after the fact and just kind of kept in the back of the conscience, saying if they do it again, we're going to mess them up?
Nah, honestly, we didn't really expect it, but, we just figured out in the moment when they placed it down. I had a feeling they had to do something, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just nothing was working out, so then,
go ahead. You can finish, baby.
it just didn't work out, so.
You just kept on get business as usual. Yeah. Now you're sitting in that winners of that grand finals with a 1-0 map count lead. Tell me, how has Precision been this week? I know it's a big time difference. Has he done anything special to kind of get ready for this week? Has the comms with him been a little bit different because of how there are times where you're like, let's call a team meeting, but let's wait for Precision to actually have slept for more than an hour?
Honestly, prior to when he moved to Hawaii, he had the same schedule. He still woke up at 6 a.m. when he was in I forgot where he was at, in Seattle or something. But honestly, it was no different. I mean, he had to wake up a little early, but it was all good. Everything was still the same. Everybody talks about his 1 ping warrior. Look at him. He's on 100 ping, 70 ping, still doing it. Still the same. So.
Hey, look, you guys ain't changed one way or the other, whether it's the jersey or the name. It's all about you guys being the absolute best that you can be. I got to ask you, though, as we look at the bottom side of this bracket now, you put a hurting on Rise. You said it was war, but you guys, I mean, a 3-0 and a hot 3-0 with that, you put a hurting on them. And the Pittsburgh Knights, they're on fire. They will not go away. They will not die. What are your guys' thoughts on that matchup? Are you looking at that as looking for maybe one of those two cats to come out of that fight? Or does it not really matter to you guys? You said, look, whoever it is, they're going to get slayed out one way or the other.
Doesn't matter. It's a different time for us. I'll just say this right now. The only chance these teams are going to have is the last 2 events. And, as each event goes on, we're just going to get better. And, it's a different day. It's Sunday, man. That's all I can say. It's a different day.
Absolutely love to hear that. No, and look, people are always going to throw that at you. Jacob earlier today kind of made the comment to me or asked me the question. He said, are you guys worried about cementing your legacy? And I used the idea. I said, look, these guys, they don't care about legacy here and now. They care about securing chips, bags, and everything else that comes along with that pride and prestige. Is that the mentality that you guys are taking into this Sunday, that legacy can be written after the career is over?
Honestly, we don't really talk about that stuff. We don't care, to be honest. We come in every day. Every day we play is just another day in the office. You know what I'm saying? People would say, coming in as the reigning champ, we would have a lot of pressure, but we feel no pressure at all. Another day in the office, like I said. You know what I'm saying? We just go out there, do what we do best.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. Look, Raul, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you want to get back with the gang and start maybe talking about how things are going to go in that grand finals. Do you want to plug anything, shout anything out before I let you run?
Honestly, the only shout out I got right now is just the haters. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what y'all doing. We see the chat every time. Keep doing what y'all doing, online or not. Cronus, this and that, don't matter. Like we really, I can say whatever y'all want. It's just gonna make us play better. So thank you.
He said thank you to all the haters, but I got to say thank you to you, Acells. You guys continue to put on an absolute show. You guys are monsters of the Midway. There's no doubt about it. Y'all can't be touched. Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. Towers of power. My God, you look like you might be 160 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal right now, man. You looking slim and trim. I said you just so fine on a Sunday, and I love it.
You, man.
Hey, I don't know about all that. You don't want to get like this. I'm Big Chubb right now. You might want to watch your mouth when you ask to be like me, but thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. Pioneers are sitting in grand finals with a 1-map lead already. Back to you guys over on the analyst desk.